Oh,
Um,
yay!
or I'm clicking the going live button.
Good, good,
So
good, good.
we're actually
Yeah.
it's live now. There we
Okay,
go.
cool, cool, cool. We're back in business, guys. Yes,
Yep.
yes,
And
yes.
let me send the link out to people. Um,
Thank you.
Jeez, I don't know how that happened. Um, get shareable link. Link copied to
Yeah.
clipboard. Um,
Mm-hmm.
paste
That's a
new
good
link.
file too.
Um,
Because I could not
weird
see
stuff.
anyone.
Don't
Camera
know
went out,
how that all happened.
audio went out,
Um,
no contact with anything, and then all of a sudden Mitch said, they're like, there are 4 megs. I'm like, what?
yeah,
There could only be one. Bring me the
yeah.
clipboard!
Um,
I.
okay. Well, here we are.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I can host. Jamie, if you could still monitor chat, I would so appreciate it and post questions. That would be great. If you can, let me know if you need help finding if you need the link or anything.
Oh
But
no,
I
Rose is
should
getting
be,
pixelated. No,
same
Rose,
and
you're
everything.
pixelating.
Are we
Um,
back?
we are back. We're
We're
already
back.
live.
We're back.
It's
Gotcha.
all good.
Fantastic.
Okay. Okay. So there we go. Um, okay. So anyway, where were we? After that mini break, I hope everyone got
I
a
believe we
chance
were
to get
talking about
snacks.
history of pirates.
Yeah. Bringing things to the U.S. and how after bringing things to the U.S., I mean, especially in bringing things to the U.S., the U.S. Pirate Party had to really broaden out into new issues, into other issues, and I think uh, that is both it can make things both more difficult in some ways and easier in others, right? Because like if you have when you have this laser focus, it means you have a laser focus and you're like, okay, we're a single issue party. You go on that front and you just say, okay, like this is the thing we're focusing on. And the fact that at the time in 2006, at the beginning of all this, people were able to organize around the Pirate Bay raiding and this issue that was very salient, not just because of that, but also because of different threats to internet freedoms and net neutrality at the time, which are still very present, mind you. But because of those different threats, there was a lot of talk about this, and so it was in some ways easier to maintain that laser focus. And so broadening out comes with pros and cons, I think. But is definitely more applicable to what we're doing here and what we need to do. I don't know. That's my little spiel.
Well, absolutely. Well, I feel like the thing about branching out and trying to define what pirate politics means is you are, each time you add a layer to it, pushing someone away in a sense. I guess someone who may have only been interested in copyright law might suddenly be like, oh, I don't agree with that issue. But I feel like the more issues you add, the more people pay attention at the same time. So while it's more important, I believe, to always stay true to pirate politics, as long as it feels like a natural progression, I should say, which all of it has to an extent. I don't think there's any pirate party that is necessarily like so extraordinarily different that there's almost like branches of pirate politics. It all feels like it's coming under the same banner. It's evolving under the same pace, and we all kind of
Mm,
wanted the same direction.
in a way, the United States Pirate Party is of itself the most unique out of all the multi countries that have been established. I mean, Japan has two factions right now. The United States, we have a issue, I would say, with defining our levels because we try to not exclude people. We have this interesting philosophy of open door. We don't mind if you actually are a member of a different party or you have certain beliefs that don't agree with ours because the problem that Americans have, I will be so bold to speak here, is that we tend to believe that must be all or nothing of a philosophy because of the two-party system that has been created and forced into its current position, where you must choose of either A, well, I guess I'm pro-choice, so therefore I'm not accepted in any conservative circles. I mean, our politics is very right in this right now anyways. Like it's pretty extreme and on the right of the whole spectrum. But in all reality, politics isn't a binary system. Politics is a whole on three-dimensional spectrum. And as pirates, we are more into people's rights to live, rights to exist, rights to pursue your growth, to pursue your existence, to make yourself happy. You know? Like if you should want to get a better job and actually live, you should be allowed to. You should not have to live under a slave man's thumb, essentially, just so you can wake up, go to work, three different jobs later at the end of the week, come home and sleep for 8 hours. No one's life should be like that. I don't I don't care what people think, like you should not have to not have a social life. You should be allowed to exist in the world that you live in, the community you are in. The only way you can bring progress and better your peers and even your neighbors is if you have that ability. Like you can't be starving. You can't have food scarcity. You can't have to choose your insulin or your like access to your car because we're so car centric in this country. Um,
Yeah, I mean,
it's just
I think there's also, I mean, like you were saying, right? There's this, like we were saying, there's this flow of
mhm,
of this of these central ideas of
mhm,
human rights and human decency, or of the
mhm.
respect for human life, and
Yeah,
for
it's
for diversity within
mhm.
that, uh, and it
It's
comes from this central idea of like empowerment, I think.
it's
um,
not just like Rose. I think people need to really point out a little bit more like the directness of this. It isn't just to like have inclusivity or diversity or all these other words that some of the conservative end are scared of. It isn't just that. Bottom line of it all is we don't want to have a paywall to breathe. We just need to start putting like this isn't just about we want people to use certain things or I want to only not be rude about this. I want to force gender norms or force this or like it just the concept of the American political system is all about all or nothing and force. It's either you're this group or you're this group. There is no in between. There's no gray matter. What I think we as pirates want to argue is like, look, we just want to live.
mhm.
You said about being respectful about other people and their own existence, but you shouldn't have to pit people against each other. You shouldn't say, you've been seen plenty of internet memeing and plenty of infographics of how, oh, the junkies, like the junkies Narcan's for free, but my cancer or my insulin is $600, or something like that, right? Like my cancer treatment or my insulin is like 600. No, remove that. Why is your cancer treatment or your insulin worth $600 and their life-saving, shot is blank? You need to ask why, not complain that one gets better than the other or one is getting at some kind of benefit that you're jealous of because of something else.
So
No, we as pirates need to focus that we just need to move the bar. We need to stop saying like A has more than C, or C has this perk and I don't know, N doesn't. We need to push for an egalitarian level, and you can't do that unless people have the right to live.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it comes from that. It comes from the empowerment of individuals, and it comes from and what you were saying, like, we want to kind of build into this really an egalitarian worldview. This
yeah, I mean, it's not socialism, it's not communism. You should have to, like, pay into the system. You should have to do something. You should be doing this. What I'm advocating for is you shouldn't have to question if you should sell your kidney on the black market so you can pay for your rent. You shouldn't have to choose. Well, I guess I'm not in this club because I don't believe in blank tenant, or maybe I am like pro gun, but most leftist groups don't like gun people, so I can't be with them. So I'm stuck with these, like, this kind of group or this kind of thing, but I don't entirely agree with their message either. You're kind of left in this system where people are floating it in between because they're so solid on the doctrine. The concept of you must be something wholeheartedly.
Mm-hmm.
But as pirates, we want you to bring your thoughts, your collective knowledge, your experiences to the table so that we can find a better way.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to have this rigid binary system of yay or nay, or, I guess, you can't just say that. I don't know how to put this. You can't have that rigid behavior without breaking your system, and that's what we're at right now. I mean, the Republicans are now trying to almost break into two different groups. That's unheard of.
There is a reason. Well, I mean, to your point, there's a reason why this party is necessary. There's a reason why third parties are necessary, and there's also a reason why the Pirate Party is necessary. And there's a reason why it has a place in not just international politics, but in American politics. And it's because it fills and it advocates for part of this space that is oftentimes left to just left to guesswork. Not just left to guesswork, but left to people who are, to the fringes of the other two major parties. And what this is it's not just advocacy for those peoples, but it's also advocacy. There's a reason why what I really like is one of the points on the Pirate Wheel, this idea that we are building up kind of to use a word from Falkfinch, swarm-wise, we're building this up in a swarm management way. We are building as pirates from the ground up and with a large coalition of people in a very directly democratic manner. Or at least that's the intention. Yeah. In the sense that what we want to do is reach out to other groups. And we want to, as opposed to some other folks within the third-party schema, we want to reach out to as many third-party groups as we can and say, hey, let's collaborate. Hey, let's work together on this stuff. Hey, let's, because the stronger we all are, the more attention there is on that space between, exactly what you were saying, Meg, that there is this idea of, that binary in American politics, and we need to kind of do work to break that down.
Binary just needs to be written and yeeted, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
Like, but that kind of level of just rigid existence. I mean, even in our social lives, we are you're either part of my circle or you're not. And if you're not, like if you don't fully agree with my beliefs, then I really can't be your friend. And I've met plenty of people that even hold that belief personally in their interactive lives. It's not just an internet phenomena. It's something that I'm actually seeing in real life. Are people um, uh, playground interactions? I mean, I've seen some stuff like this. I know it sounds a bit strange, but as a parent, I have seen gatherings of other moms who will actively oust other families or other kids or other parents because they don't agree with their preference on doing something, or they don't all the way agree with something. They might agree with like 9 out of 10 of their behavior, but the last one, it's just normally something small, and they're like, nope, can't have it. It's not as if they're torturing people or they're actively supporting the oppression of other people's existence, or they're committing atrocities, genocide. No, no, no. It's just like, sorry, I don't like Timmy going out after 9 p.m.
Right.
It's just stuff like that. But that behavior, that tribal sense of thinking is prevalent in our daily real life lives. It's not just the internet. And because of that, it's also driving into our politics. And you're forcing people to choose. I mean, the Pope himself had written a huge letter about American Catholics who voted for Trump in 2016, calling their actions abhorrent. That they allowed something so evil and dangerous to take a seat of power out of a single issue. He's like, yes, abortion is a terrible, terrible thing, but that's not something to damn an entire country over. It's like he had written such a scathing letter, and I'm just thinking, wow, the Pope writing off to staffs Americans, but it's that exact point. And that's what I think we as pirates try to strive for, is to build that whole. I mean, I don't agree with everyone's politics in this party. I don't agree with everyone's personal opinions, and I don't agree with everyone in my real life either, you know? But for the betterment of society, you need to get along. You need to work in the gray or the purple, as we are, the middle gap between the blue and the red. We try to build rather than divide.
Additionally, in terms of issues, so we've talked a lot about our kind of commitment to building up that middle bit and providing some alternatives to the other parties, but it's not just that. Obviously we're focusing on some more
transparency. We want better interactive government.
So we're focusing on things like transparency. We're focusing on to again, like kind of, I think one thing I kind of do just want to honestly, in fact, I think I'm just going to is just go ahead and put up the pirate wheel, because I like that freaking document. Don't know why I closed it. Thought I downloaded it. I say that every time. But can I do this? Can I share? Can I share a file? Can I share a screen?
I have no idea.
Is this possible? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, this is the pirate wheel. It's pretty cool. You should check it out if you haven't. It's really nice. I recommend it. It's not the be-all end-all, of course, but it's really useful as a guide, as a foundation, as a reference, right? And it's cool to look at. It's very pretty. I like. I like it.
Yes, you like.
As a person who likes flowcharts, this is very satisfying. Except for some of these parts where it's really hard to tell what goes into what. Could have been designed a little bit better. Okay, and that's me mistaken. Anyway, right. So the idea here is that everything kind of flows from empowerment. We are a party which, as we were saying, right, respects. We are respecting and empowering individuals to let them make their own choice about what their politics are and think about these issues individually, not just as ideologies, but also as individual issues. And so that's cool. They can have their own voice. They can talk about their own things. We all can do that. And there's a whole bunch of stuff that comes from that. Anyway, I don't know if I want to go over this whole thing. I feel like that would be a little bit absurd because there's a lot in here and we've been going on and on for a long time. And also we had that whole technical issues break. Anyway, I highly recommend checking this out. You can literally just Google pirate wheel. Pirate party wheel probably. Or if you look up pirate wheel politics would probably show up. I'm trying to think like how you can, like get that and not get just a picture of a pirate ship wheel. You know what I mean? This is always
right. If you just Google image search pirate wheel, you might not get what you're looking for.
You won't get that. If you search pirate wheel politics on all search, it will show up. And it's under Rick Falkfinch's site. It's under Rick Falkfinch's site, to be clear. So if you see anything that's like falkfinch.net, that's where it is. Very useful, very nice. Outlines a lot of key policies, outlines a lot of cool things. But the specific things on here that, not only are we, I think one of the things that document highlights a lot that is kind of important to me and jumps back to something that we talked about a bit before, is that we aren't just a party of the one issue. We aren't just a party of copyright reform and patent reform, although we are of that as well. It's in there and it features prominently in there. It's woven throughout the entire thing. It's in the free exchange of ideas and culture. It's in the free exchange of knowledge. It's in the idea of it's in there directly. There's actually a tile that says we need patent and copyright reform. There's tiles that talk about the having universities share information and having government produced information be shared freely as well, which I think makes a lot of sense, right? If tax dollars are spent on something, it shouldn't be patented by other. Anyway, tangent.
I agree. Anything your tax dollars spent on, I think, should be open and transparent.
Right.
Yeah.
Everything.
You should. I I think that if you pay into, like, I mean, it's just, people say, like, oh, well, taxation is theft. Like, okay, fine, whatever you like whatever gets you to the next day, dude. But you do need taxes to a degree. But what the problem is that you should have them spent on so and so's jet trip, so and so's, mistress, or paying off someone's hush money. Your tax dollars shouldn't do that. Your tax dollars should go to your school, to your your community. It should go out to your healthcare.
Hospitals.
Your
exactly.
hospitals.
And,
it should go to.
And to that point, right? One of the other things that is that we are absolutely all about making sure that this system is efficient. Right? We're the party of the internet. We are bringing. We're the party of the age of the internet at the very least, right? We're a 15-year-old party. We're kids compared to a bunch of these other parties. We are. Which I think is cool.
We are the Gen Z of political parties.
We kind of are. I mean,
I really
say what you will about that.
But we are.
Say what you will about that.
It's like, I don't want to sound like bad, but no, that's a very valid point, because, I mean, even Gen Z right now is coming out. They are pushing for innovation. They are pushing behind stuff. And that is a force that you need to, like, we as people need to recognize as adults, even, like, it might be a joke. It might be a joke, but it's really true. And it's something you need to talk about. Mitch.
And to the point of us being a 15-year-old party, everyone who's 15 right now will be voting in the 2024 election.
Yes.
We are as old as the new generation of voters. We grew up with you. The issues are relevant to you and your age group.
That's a great point. That's a great point.
We have a question. Can we respond to a question from Claire Lane?
Oh, hey, Claire, asking more questions.
Claire asked a question. They say, does the right to repair the pirate party strongly support?
Ooh, the right to repair.
Yes, I think we do. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean,
I think that absolutely falls under the purview of absolutely falls under the purview of the issues that the pirate party believes in. I mean, the right to repair, just unequivocally.
I mean, like, you should be able. I purchased a machine. I should be allowed to repair it.
Say that again, Mitch. Because I
not just right to repair, but your right to approve upon.
Improve.
If it's yours, you should be able to do whatever you want to it.
You should be able to mod it out. You should be able to do, if you want to do something and, like, put a bunch of lights in a car that doesn't necessarily go through, you'll drill through the body of the vehicle. You should be allowed to do that. You don't have to have consequences from the, how do I say, the creator. If I have a MacBook, I have a 2012 MacBook, and I have the ability to open it up because it's not a completely sealed unibody. I could still unscrew it. But I should be allowed to do that regardless. I shouldn't have to, like, fight to say that I'm allowed to replace that motherboard. If I could buy the part, I could put it in. And if you do I truly own my MacBook? Yes, I do. I own it. Do I truly own a car? No, I don't actually own a car. But, if you buy a car, you should be allowed to do whatever you want with it. You just spent your $20,000 on a vehicle.
And more to the point, and more to the point, if we had an economy that was structured under pirate principles of a swarm economy, then more products would be built with that in mind. They would be created in such a way that they would be repairable from the get-go. They would be created, the economy would be built around not just right to repair, but it would be built around right to improve, because you wouldn't be having, because you would have the tech giants, the, et cetera, the monopolies would not have the copyrights and patents that they have today, because half of those have expired by the, they haven't expired under current copyright and patent law, but they
would
be
have
fired under what pirates are suggesting, which is frankly more than reasonable, and personally I think should be cut down. But that's just me.
Yes, but you can have that opinion because we are a party that isn't absolutist on certain pieces. Like in general, we are. Like, that's another thing. But yeah, I know. So it's like that's another key point of how we are pirates. It's like bros may have a different opinion on where the copyright line lies between somebody else, and that is completely acceptable within the party because we are not absolutists on things. Like you have to obviously adhere to some kind of tenet as we want you to focus on this or push for it, but we don't hold these truths to be ironclad and written in stone.
We hold these truths to be written in stone.
Yeah, no, but I mean, yes, we support the right to repair because you should. If you buy a product, I think our world right now has gotten to this point of single use for convenience, single use for this myth of cleanliness, but it's really not. It's worse. I mean,
it's
the single use mentality is hit.
Used mostly, I would argue, for profit.
You can't, like, it's not just even profit, but I mean, you can't even recycle without having to pay for it and not to be paid to do it. California and similar states have, like, you can return these items and get money back, but most states don't. Why? I don't know. We're now polluting the earth in mass because you can't recycle. There are certain things, if it has touched food, you can't recycle it. I mean, the up cost to buy something versus a plastic bottle versus a glass bottle. The cost of the glass bottle is far more expensive, but it's better for the environment, better to use. You can reuse it several times over, but the BPA one, you really can't.
I think,
you have
to that point, Meg, right to repair, I think, also gets to, because of differing costs between quality of product currently. Right to repair is something that gets to that kind of intersects with
make a better product.
It intersects with putting the same value on all people, right? If you care about everyone having the same if you care about everyone having the same access to a living, then what you need right to repair at that point.
Apple is in the middle of this shice storm, for lack of a better word, with some of their fights on repairing. I mean, iFixit has been doing battle with them for years now. About how they're like, well, our techs could fix this, our geniuses could do this. But the thing is, they put stuff inside machines that will indicate if it's been exposed to water. But then that's case, their automatic policy is write it off as it cannot be fixed. You need to buy a brand new one. But in reality, all you have to do is just either reconnect the cable or apply a different adhesive or replace a hard drive or a battery, and it works fine. But policy was the time the lawsuits have started that it's to push to buy a new one. Right. But at that point, you're looking at $600-700 at least, and then on top of that, thousands if you want to buy a brand new Apple product.
Right.
That is the concept of, well, if you can't repair it, then I guess it's worthless. It's putting tech in dumpsters, in like
planned
landfills.
Planned obsolescence.
It's horrible, and the right to repair would remove that. If you, as somebody who couldn't afford that $800 price tag to have it serviced, or the $1,000 price tag to buy a new one, but you should be allowed to take it to any repairman you want. I mean, if I have a car and I want to take it to a mechanic, I should not have to take it to the place that I bought it from. It's my car, is it not? And so,
exactly.
I guess that's something that, yeah, pirates are definitely for.
Thank you
That
for the
ability.
question, Claire. Appreciate it.
Mm.
Jamie, let us know if there are any other questions, but I think we are kind of approaching the wrap-up time. I do want to, I know we had that tech blip in the middle there, which sucks, but was there, Mitch, Meg, anything else y'all want to mention about, quickly the history of the Pirate Party? I know we kind of zoomed through that, either USPP or international, and or issues, core issues of the Pirate Party that we didn't get to touch on.
I am not really sure, to be honest. I think we did cover everything we needed to. Like I had said, well, I mean, like y'all don't know, I am the current vice chair and I will be stepping down this year. I am not seeking re-election. I am going to be going to the UN as an observer for PPI, and they are tied in with a non-governmental organization, an NGO. I'm using the abbreviation correctly. And they organize and work with ECOSAC and a few other organizations. So I'll be going out to the UN, hopefully minding that everything opens up in New York, because New York is ground zero again. But hopefully that'll be happening. I enjoyed it very much. You go and you get to observe other countries talk it out, work out their own problems, their own feelings about things, and projects of between. But that's something that the Pirate Party International organization has a hand in. It's really nice in my opinion, so I like it. We're joining with them.
And relates a lot with how the USPP has, despite
We've
that
always
kind
been
of
friends.
Yeah,
We've always been friends with PPI. We might not be a part of Pirate Party International. We have our own grounds of where we want to be.
Right.
But
well, especially
we are
because of
friends
that
of
difference
PPI.
in ideology but a little bit
the
of a difference.
Europeans don't have to fight for human rights like the Americans do on the same level. They have at least some. They at least have something there. They've been around. The countries have been around for a while. They kind of got at least something. We're still trying to root around in the mud. I don't mean to be. I mean, yes, Europe has its problems. I'm not saying Europe doesn't have its problems. I'm saying they've had a little bit more time to say, look, we need to have a universal healthcare system, or yeah, I guess people should be allowed to unionize, or we are at this point of we're still enslaving people at $7.25 an hour, and we still have states that say it's okay to pay people with a disability less than the federal minimum wage because they're not considered a full person. I'm looking at you, Indiana. I'm looking at y'all in goodwill. Like people with disabilities are a full person. I think we've been there already. But yeah, it's something this country needs to work on. What is a person? It seems to be we keep on discussing that from the color of their skin or their intellectual or physical capabilities. We seem to really have a hard time with defining what a person really is.
Mitch, did you want to say something?
It was just to the point of the United States of America is the size of continental Europe. We have a much harder time trying to organize, trying to get Americans together. Add to the fact that you talk about our ideology of pirate politics might differ from theirs, but also even in our own country, people forget we are 50. We're essentially 50 countries in one unified.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. I mean, Illinois is different than Oregon. You have a complete culture shock there, even.
Exactly. I've been to Portland.
Yo, Portland, man.
Portland. I mean, no anyone from Portland. Shout out to you, but sorry about that. Shout out to you if you're from Portland, but yeah, you guys are true to your key Portland weird catchphrase. I like it.
Yeah. I've been to Seattle. I sat in the chop area, or whatever they were calling it at one point. Like it was the chop towards the end. I went there and I sat in there with some of my friends. I mean, I've got to see pieces like, Seattle take no prisoners. I love y'all. I'm totally here for you.
Yeah.
I mean, my friends on Cap Hill, like, yeah, seriously, shout out. But yeah, that is very true. That the United States is like 50 separate countries, and we try to make it appear like we're not, but we are.
Mhm.
We are. Like state
exactly.
rights are still a thing.
Like if you've ever seen like a European, like any European from any country,
Mhm.
like react to something of the United States, they always say, "How is this one country? How are they all just considered one people?" Because culturally speaking, we are incredibly different. So it's harder for us to organize as the United States Pirate Party because it's almost as if it was a European pirate party trying to collect all the states together. We have to form state parties and get us together like that. And so it's
that's
more, arduous process, but ultimately it's what we have to do. We are a big country.
Yeah. I mean,
the
like you can
distance from
drive through
Lisbon,
Germany in
Portugal,
like you can drive
I
through
was just saying-
Germany in like 2 hours.
Oh yeah, Autobahn go vroom. The distance from San Diego, California to Portland, Maine is farther than the distance from Lisbon, Portugal to Moscow, Russia. We are a big country.
Yeah,
So,
Mitch, your volume is low according to Jamie.
If there's a way to turn it up, that'd be great.
Yeah.
can you hear me now?
It's much better.
I
I mean, we could hear you. It was just
right, just wasn't.
Yeah.
For the first
So yeah,
time in
like
my
we
life,
are
I
a
was
big
silent.
country. Yeah, we are a really big country. Like, how many days does it take to drive from one side to the other? How many days? Was it like Rose, didn't you do this? Didn't
not
you
cross
go
country.
from Milwaukee to California?
Yeah.
Like halfway at least?
Halfway.
I mean, how long did it take you?
3.
2 or 3 just go halfway across
3.
the country? So yeah, it'd be like an 8-day trip at most from.
Well, it depends. You could make it halfway across the country in one day if you go 120 miles an hour.
Right.
Well, it's like our legal limit is like 60, right? Or 75 in most cases, a legal limit. So
I did that calculation once.
Oh no, I'm totally for all that calculation. I'm totally cool with that. It's like skirt the rules, not control, but
you make. I think you have to make. You have to make almost no stops for gas. So you have to like do. You have to make.
You have to have a hybrid.
You have to. Yeah. You have to. Basically, yeah. You have to. Anyway,
you can't have potty breaks. There are no potty breaks.
Unrelated. We are finishing up here. Are there any other issues that you wanted to address? Are there any other things about the history that you wanted to address?
To pop off Mitch's commentary on it was like, yeah, we are individually like separate countries in of this collective concept of a federal line, and that's just how our country is set up. Like, some states have certain laws that other states don't. Hello, cannabis. That's because each state is like its own country. And the only reason why I can't take my medicine from one state to the next is because of the federal government. So it's like, that's another thing. I feel that we as a country need to come to terms with that fact. It's like, yes, we are not one country. We are, in fact, many extra countries, in a concept of a general sense. And once we do that, I think we can actually get our politics on board, because East Coast is different than Midwest, which is different from y'all South, which is different from West Coast, even Pacific Northwest. Like the whole place was founded under these white supremacists that escaped from the like southern South, like the South, you know. And that's
Right.
how, Oregon, yeah, keep Portland weird because that's kind of how it is, and that's how it came to be. But I think we can figure
And to
this
that
out.
same point,
Mm.
yes. And to that same point, I think people need to understand when we say Americans, that is not exclusive to the United States of America.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
Americans
yes.
are people from North, Central, South, and the Caribbean,
Mm-hmm.
America. We are so big that using the term American would be like asking someone like, "What are you?" and they go, "I'm European." You'd get pissed off
Because you would know
that's not
exactly
specific.
in
It's
Europe
not
where
what
you're.
I'm asking.
It's like,
You know,
are you
if I ask
Pakistan?
somebody where are you or what are you, I
Are you from
genuinely
Pakistan?
what I'm looking for.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking for like, oh, I'm a Chicagoan, I'm a Californian, I'm a Florida man.
Oh yeah.
Like you are so unique to your
Mm.
state and your culture that I want to hear about that. And the word American, genuinely stretches.
Yeah. Even Chicago is different from its north and south behaviors. So yeah. Anyways, we should probably wrap up.
Yep.
Looks like Mitch accidentally got knocked out. So yeah.
With
Is that better?
it is better, but we're gonna finish
Yeah,
up.
we go. Yeah, we gotta go. All right. Thank
Right on
you
time.
for hosting, Rose. Thank you.
Well, yeah. Thank you all very much for being here, and
I look forward to seeing other people participate in the party upcoming. I'm looking forward to admiring from afar. Good night, y'all.
Thank you. Thanks, Meg. Thanks, Mitch. And thank you, Jamie, for
Thank you, Rose. Thank you,
for
Meg.
running everything.
Thank you, Jamie.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Have a good night, everyone. And remember, of course, that for the rest of these 2 weeks, we have more events going on. Those are all set up as upcoming live streams for the rest of the events in the channel that you are watching this on. So please do go ahead and check those out. They are all on this channel in this same playlist, I believe. Otherwise, they will all be at the same time, 9 p.m. Eastern. And I believe our next one is Saturday, which will be a candidate forum at which all of the candidates for the upcoming officer positions will be giving some statements and having a Q&A. So if you have any questions for the upcoming officers, of which I believe Mitch and myself are both officer candidates. So we will be there to answer questions about whatever you want. And that'll be exciting. So be there, ask questions, participate in your local pirate politics, or your national pirate politics. And we'll see you there. Have a good night, everyone.
Have a good night.